Hey, folks, so what do the initial call-ups and promotions tell us when it comes to the Yankees? I think it tells me a couple things, and it just makes me think about a couple things as well. And I want to share them with you. And again, this is not over. The Yankees, they have to make more moves moving forward in order to get guys like Severino back on the 28 and some other guys that have become Harrison Bader, Matt Carpenter. Like, there are still guys that need to come back. So they're still going to need to make roster shuffling one way or another. So, and if you want to know if those moves are, when they happen, make sure you please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that yet. If you do, hit the notification bell. Okay, that way you know when these things come out on a regular basis, because I'm consistent when I put it all out for you. So, and again, I don't like my folks missing anything. So I like you being on the know. Now, some of the moves. They promoted Oswald Peraza yesterday, last night, to the major. So he's going to be meeting the Yankees in Tampa for their series against the Rays. How are they going to use him? We have no idea. Okay, we can assume a lot of things, but we just don't know. They also promoted Anthony Volpe late last night, to AAA to replace Oswald Peraza. So what does that tell me is that, well, Peraza has nowhere to go, but either he's going to stay on the roster now and replace somebody eventually, or it's going to be trade bait. What else are they going to do? Now for Volpe, they're not going to demote Volpe again just to make room for Peraza. Generally don't go reverse direction. So that's going to be a really interesting thing to see. But the fact is, now they've got a couple these nucleus players. And again, shortstop has been a crazy position at depth. Okay? They are like 6 deep at the shortstop position. There's still tons of guys like Sweeney, Roderick Arias, some of the guys that have Volpe that haven't been called up yet to the majors. So there's still a lot of things to do. And again, some of these guys have been learning multiple positions, like Oswald Cabrera. He learned outfield and a couple of, and with the Yankees, he's kind of played across the field, which is a good thing. Versatility is great. And Oswald Peraza has been learning multiple infield positions as well. So, but what it also tells me is that by bringing up some of these young kids now, is the Yankees are probably putting some of their unproductive veterans on notice, right? Josh Donaldson, IKF, and Gleyber Torres. That these kids, if they continue to play better than you, they're probably going to take your spot. And I know, like we've already heard that the Yankees are going to try to move Torres this offseason a little bit more aggressively, and potentially even Josh Donaldson. Who knows? They may even move kind of left. We don't know. We just don't know. Okay? But having options now is a good thing. And it also tells me that maybe the Yankees are trying to see if they actually can develop another core 4. A cost-controllable, young, dynamic core 4, who they can also lock up for a decade or 8 to 10 years early on, like the Braves are doing with their young nucleus. They're going to have a nucleus until 2030, which is going to be fantastic for them. It's going to cause fits for teams. And again, you're getting these kids in their young years and approaching their prime instead of overpaying for decline years, like the Yankees have done way too often. Okay, would be a wise move to do that as long as they continue to produce as they get up to the new level and keep improving. And if they prove themselves worthy, like guys like Ronald Acuna and Ozzy Albies, then you lock these kids up if you can. And the Yankees do have the wherewithal to do it and the resources to do it. Okay? So, and that's something I hope the Yankees do so that they're not having to repeat the sequence. Oh my God, who's going to be the new shortstop? Who's going to be the new every 2 or 3 years? Lock the kids up if they're good enough, and then you don't have to worry about it for a long time. Okay? And again, get them young. Get them when they're controllable. Like, and yeah, you pay them good money, but so what? I mean, it's worth it. I mean, and again, you're avoiding major pitfalls later on. So to me, that's a smart way to do things. So hopefully the Yankees will do that. Now, it also is to me is an admission that they're much better at developing position players than they are starting pitchers. Okay, well, I mean, that's an obvious thing. You don't even have to admit that. I think we all can see that. They're good at developing relievers and promoting relievers and whatnot, but starting pitching, I mean, Andy Pettitte and the last guy, I mean, Luis Severino hasn't stayed healthy, like with the exception of guys like Ken Waldichuk and J.P. Sears, who didn't really have. I mean, Sears had a couple games up here, and then he was traded to Oakland. Waldichuk just made his debut yesterday, but Oakland, 4 1/3, went 6 hits, 1 run, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. So not bad. We'll see how he does. And it was against the Nationals, not the Astros or the Dodgers. So the team he was pitching against also matters too. So, but that said, the A's did not hesitate to call these kids up. So I'm hoping that the Yankees start developing starting pitching better. You know, Andy Pettitte was part of the core 4. So was Mo. We had 2 pitchers as part of the core 4. I like to call it the core 5 because I like to incorporate Bernie Williams. But 2 out of the 5 guys were pitchers. Right now, it stands right now. It's going to be all position players for the Yankees. So if that ever happens, I mean, you've got Volpe, you've got Peraza, you've got Dominguez, Everson Pereira, right? Roderick Arias, Trey Sweeney. There's a ton of guys that can be valuable players here moving forward. And we don't even know if Anthony Rizzo is going to stay or whether he's going to opt out. So what are they going to do at first base? And we'll get to that at some point. But they also have Ronald Guzman at AAA too. Big power hitting guy as well. So, but we don't know. But in terms of these guys, that's what's happening right now. Those are the call-ups. Those are the promotions of significance. They promoted Everson Pereira and some of the other guys up. So a lot of guys have been accelerating through the system. And now that they've drafted a bunch of new guys like Spencer Jones, I could see him working his way pretty quickly through the system as well, being a big offensive piece for the outfield for the Yankees. And they're already favored to sign Brandon Maillet, the #1 international free agent this offseason, who's an outfielder too. So the Yankees, if that's true, if they do it, they're going to have ridiculous depth, positional depth. So, but again, starting pitching, developing these guys would be a wise idea, so they're not having to always worry about overpaying in trades or overpaying in free agency. Okay, and I get how, I mean, that's just the way that it goes in the trade market and free agency, but, like, you can avoid these things, too. I mean, you really can. And hopefully they do that. Hopefully they learn some lessons here. I don't know if they'll ever acknowledge it, but hopefully they'll learn some lessons. But you folks, let me know what you think. Right? Are you happy with the kids that are being called up and promoted? Who else do you want to see up here? Like, I want to see Dominguez continue to develop. And again, things to watch out for. Like, how is Peraza going to translate from AAA to the majors? How is Volpe going to adapt from AA to AAA now that he's there? It took him a while to adapt from single A to AA. We're going to need to see that adaptation process too. And if he continues to do that, then we'll know the kid's the real deal. We'll know he's the real deal. And hopefully he'll be up here sooner than later. But he's one step away now, baby. One step away. All right, so let's talk about this. I'll obviously be back later with the lineups and any other news for the Tampa Bay series. And we're going to recap it tonight. So I'll be going live tonight after the game. Back to live streams now that we're back to some kind of semblance of normal clock and normal schedule. So I'll catch you guys later. And gals, over and out.